Well, it worked out so well last time getting the basic instruction. A lot of people started to understand what's going on a lot more after that. So Richard's back with us now. First of all, I didn't know this last time. You've got experience in all of this. You're not just playing reporter here. You've got real experience in what's been going on.
Yeah, I'd worked in the oil spill cleanup industry for 4 or 5 years, but this is a long time ago. So many things have changed. The owner of the company that I worked for had a lot of open water oil spill cleanup experience, so we got to tap into some of that about 15 years ago.
It gives you a bit of an insight then, doesn't it? Now, we want to first of all have a look at the latest video that we've got in of the oil spill as it's pumping out. Let's see if we can roll that video back there. And just explain to us again what we're seeing here.
Yeah, this is the top of the BOP, which is that giant fossa valve that we were demonstrating on Friday here, Michael.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, I'll break it out for you. So
Come around here, Robert.
So if we've got this table here.
Yeah.
This is the bottom of the ocean.
Bottom of the ocean.
Bottom of the ocean. This is that hole in the ground where oil's coming out. They've got this large BOP, which is basically a large faucet
preventer.
Blowout preventer. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Now, what they had attached to that was this riser, and this riser is a 21-inch in diameter tube, goes all the way to the surface, connected to that rig. There was that explosion 40 days ago. It fell to the bottom of the ocean. We had several leaks.
And bent this over.
That's right.
And you're getting leaks out of there.
And that's what we're seeing right there in some of that previous video, is that leak that's still happening at the moment. Because what we were talking about Friday didn't work.
Exactly.
It just didn't work because there's so much pressure coming up from the oil well that they could not offset it with that heavy mud.
That they were pumping into it. Okay, so what are they doing now?
All right, so what they're doing right now, take a look at this video right now, which I think was just happening moments ago. They're using a very large pair of scissors. Now, this is very basic.
Now, this is a live picture, too.
This is a live picture. But what I've got here to demonstrate what they're doing, first of all, they're going to take, it's 18 feet long by 9 feet tall, and it's going to cut it right around here. Just simply cut off that riser.
Right.
An amazing piece of technology.
Yeah.
Once they're done doing that.
Now, just explain, this is how
This
diameter.
is about 21 inch in diameter.
21 inches diameter.
That's right. And they're just going to cut that right off. It will relieve some of the pressure so that when they then come to the top of this giant faucet valve, the BOP, they will then take a diamond cutting wire cutter to take off the top here.
Right.
Basically removing this. So that will be gone. Now, the problem with that they foresee, but it's planned, is that they'll have an increase of oil.
Absolutely, oil will just be pouring out.
Exactly,
of
20% more here, Michael.
Right.
So we're talking about over 20,000 barrels per day potentially. So they want to cap that off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Now what they did is they brought down 2 caps that they're going to put on top of this, these MLRP. Now what I've got here is a red and a green cap for the 2 different types they're going to use. They're going to try to put them right on top to contain the flow. If one doesn't work, they'll bring in the other.
Okay. Now, what was this video that we saw? I don't know if we can roll that video of the saw going around that we were watching before in the office. Let's put that one up. Oh, this is the animation. Okay.
This is the animation.
Tell us about this.
Okay, so this is what we're just talking about.
This is what we're talking about.
That is that wire saw that's coming on in.
Right.
Just completely removing that 21-inch pipe. You can just see the flow, thousands of PSI of oil coming out. That is the MLRP cap that's going to be put on top. This has one type of seal. The other cap has a different type of seal.
Layman's question here. That oil's pumping out of it. How do you do that?
And that's why they have 2 different caps.
A mile underwater.
A mile underwater. You know, when we think about that here, Michael, I was thinking it might as well be on the moon.
Yeah.
It is so far away. They've got some of the most ROVs in play right now at the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
Because you can't get to it. It can crush submarines. The pressure is so strong.
Yeah.
Now, you asked the question about the pressure coming out. Let's see, I think the pressure of water coming into our houses is about no more than 100 PSI.
Right.
We're talking about thousands of PSI of oil coming out.
How do you do that then?
That's exactly right. So that's why we have 2 different types of seals. We're going to try it. So it contains the oil at the same time it pulls the oil out into the surface.
Right.
So they're hoping that will work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if we got that other video where you see the little saw going. I wanted you to explain that because they were pretty awesome
there
pictures.
You go.
This thing, yeah.
Yeah, that video right there is they were cutting off earlier some of the support tubes that they were concerned about seawater entering through.
Right.
An amazing display of dexterity.
It's just like your circular saw, but it's been operated robotically, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's remote. Again, you talk about how far away it is, but they were able to plug these tubes, which they had concern about, of seawater entering into the system, which would then make the solution a little bit more difficult to employ. So they cut those off. They plugged them already, according to what we're hearing.
Now, you were talking about if this fails, they're already thinking next time.
Yes. Because we've got hurricane season coming around.
Starts today, I think.
June 1st. And they expect it to be one of the more busier hurricane seasons. So they've got something called a long-term containment solution. Again, we have this riser piece, right, that was originally attached to this well at the top of the BOP. Now, the problem is it's rigid, right? It's rigid, so it fell to the bottom, and it has a crack in the side right now, so we know it's rigid. What they're going to do with this long-term containment is create a separate riser, but it will not be attached to the bottom. It'll be floating here. And then at the top of it, what they're going to do is have a flexible hose 300 feet from the surface attached to this riser, which will be perpetually floating at 300 feet underneath the surface. So when the hurricane comes through, they'll remove the surface equipment and that flexible hose. The hurricane will pass over, then they'll bring back in the equipment and reattach it to this floating riser.
And the other thing too, our other high-tech thing, you were saying, this is a whole other option, right?
That's right. So you know what did not work over the weekend? That was the top kill.
That's when they were pumping stuff in.
Through the side here, they were putting in that drill mud.
Yeah.
So they have another option called the Q4000. The Q4000 is basically sucking out oil through the connections they made for the top kill. Instead of stuff going in, they're going to pull it out. So that's another option for containment.
Now, you were saying, too, that, I mean, a lot of people are very upset about what's going on. A lot of blame going on BP, rightly, wrongly, whatever. But you're saying there's an enormous amount of resources going into this.
Yeah, we have to remember that the oil business, when they're looking for oil, the exploration, the research and development, huge amounts of brains behind this because there's not that much oil out there anymore. So they employ various experts to do this. So when they have a problem like this, they're employing hundreds of engineers. The number of ROVs, or remotely operated vehicles, that they have employed, as I was saying earlier, tremendous number, probably the largest fleet in the world right now that have converged on this site. So the amount of technology, I'm not trying to defend what they're doing, I'm not trying to be practical about what the number of solutions are and how fast they've been able to bring them to bear. However, the bottom line is, it's not working yet.
And it's a disaster.
It's a disaster. We have thousands of gallons entering into the sea there.
I know you can use all the animations in the world. I love your low-tech solution, and a lot of people have told us that makes it easier to understand. So thanks a lot, Richard Lui.
You bet.